My name is Justin Connors. I am the intern here at AOPA. I work in the Pilot Information Center. I recently graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in aerospace engineering. So I'm pursuing a sport pilot license. This will be my 9th week right now, so I'm trying to get the license complete in 10 weeks. I'm flying this lovely RV-12 back here. It's taking great care of me. Sometimes my landings haven't taken great care of it. It's been a pleasure to fly, a pleasure to learn, and I decided to pursue the sport pilot because in my 10-week stint, I believe that it was more attainable. The information is not necessarily easier, but it was easier to condense in that span, especially coming from someone who had an understanding of how the aircraft is in the air, but didn't know what to do once I got in the air. And so coming with slight experience and then being able to get all that information in 10 weeks, I felt that the sport pilot was a better fit for me.
AOPA keeps flying safe, accessible, and fun by protecting your freedom to fly. We are the most trusted one-stop resource for all things related to general aviation. Become an AOPA pilot today.
I decided to pursue a degree in aerospace partially because I had always been fascinated by the idea of flying and of space itself. Also because in my mind it seemed the hardest possible challenge I could set myself. When it came time to look for things to do in the summer, this opportunity came up and I was incredibly excited to have a chance to delve more into the world of general aviation. It's something that I was never exposed to in my undergraduate career. We were more taught about how to build the planes, how to keep them physically in the sky, but any of the logistics around flying yourself or flying anywhere, major airport operations, were totally unknown to me. And so I feel in order to be what I consider a well-rounded aerospace engineer, I should also know what happens to these planes once they're, off the assembly line, where they go, who's piloting them, what kind of laws and regulations surround that. I feel like if I could get a good grasp of that, I could consider myself knowledgeable in the field of aerospace. Sport pilot, I believe at the moment you need 20 total hours before you're actually able to legally take your check ride. You need 15 dual and 5 solo. And comparing that to any of the other licenses, it's very easy to see why this is much more of an affordable option for people. This is something to where I see anyone can hop in a light sport aircraft, rather than this kind of barrier that seems to sometimes be set between coming from no experience and getting your private. The sport, I feel, is definitely a good halfway point where anyone from any background can very easily find themselves with that license. Anyone who gets their sport can almost certainly continue on to get their private and other ratings. Me, myself, like I said, the minimum hours you need for your check ride is 20. At the moment, I'm looking at 53 hours in a 10-week span, which is a lot. After 53 hours, I feel more than prepared for the sport pilot check ride. And in my head, I feel even slightly prepared for a private. Obviously, I haven't flown at night yet, and I haven't simulated any IFR conditions. However, I'm sure with a couple more hours, after having all this experience under my belt, just like any other sport pilot, we would be well set up to take a private pilot check ride. When I first started my sport pilot license, there were obviously very strict restrictions, but with the announcement of Mosaic, there's no weight limit anymore on what kind of aircraft I could fly. So when I started, was always in my head, I'd restricted myself to this RV. The RV is a lovely aircraft, but in my mind, that's all I was ever going to be able to be allowed to fly. But now being able to fly a 4-seater aircraft, still carrying 1 extra passenger, but that opens up a world of possibilities and allows me to fly. If I'm at an airport and want to rent an aircraft and they don't have an RV, well, now I can take up a 172, keeping in mind all the other restrictions, but now I don't have to stay on the ground. I can get up in the air. Learning to fly, to me, has been an incredibly transformative experience. And having an aerospace degree and not knowing how to fly, it was always an interesting thought of, I know so much about this, but do I actually know anything? And now that I've definitely learned quite a bit, I feel so much more comfortable, and I feel proud to be able to call myself an aerospace engineer now that I understand all the intricacies behind these beautiful aircraft.